Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another formation guide on the channel today. So today we have got the 4-3-3 attacking formation for the best attacking formation post-patch that we have this formation video today. So going into this 4-3-3, before we start, I just wanted to say this is not an extremely attacking formation, but this is for players that like to play like a really attacking style of FIFA. So if you're someone like me, like this sort of way of playing doesn't personally suit me. I like to have more possession. I like to build my play up slow. If you're someone that likes to play like quite fast, you like that kind of really energetic, fast-paced style of FIFA, this will suit you, especially post-patch. As we can all tell, the game just feels a little bit slower. So if you want to really speed the game up and play a little bit quicker, this formation instructions and tactics is going to suit you down to a T. So starting off with the 4-3-3s, as we can see, back four, 2 centre mids, cam and 2 wingers and a striker, which has lots of advantages. You can see up and down the wings, you know, Hulk and Semedo on the right, and Mane and Dini on the left. You've got a lot of space, especially for your fullbacks to go forward if you choose for them to go forward. And then obviously having wingers is really important because it does stretch the game. I never personally like using the narrow formations because I always feel like you need a little bit of width in your team. Just kind of give your opponent something else to think about. If everything goes through the middle of the pitch, it can become a little bit easy to defend. So I think with this formation, having the opportunity for your fullbacks to go forward and overlap your wingers, it just can create some problems. But obviously the flip side to that, the negative, is that it would leave obviously some space in behind if your opponent's using like a wide formation for him to be able to exploit you too. The other little negative that I would say on this formation is the fact that you can see in that little gap at the back between Pogba, Sissoko, Van Dijk and Longley, not having a CDM. If the guy is playing, if your opponent is playing with a central attacking midfielder, if he's playing with a central cam, he's going to be right in between those 4 players. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to mark, for you to mark, because you've not got any players in there to be able to mark him easily, and you may end up having to like drag one of your midfielders back or drag one of your centre backs forward, which can lead to obviously some errors defending. But going forwards, you can see this has got a lot of potential. You've got the front 6, as you like to call it. If you're going to play this formation attacking wise, I think playing with those 2 centre mids, as you can see, we've got Pogba and Sissoko, 2 powerhouse midfielders in there. I like them to get forwards. If we want to play really attacking, you want those to join the cam and the 3 wingers. So you're kind of having a little bit of a 6-4 split, if you like, in your team, which, as I said, if you want to play really attacking, that's kind of the way to go. So if you're going to play that 6-4 split, really you'd want your back 4 to be as solid as possible. So moving into the instructions, I've actually decided to go with the fullbacks. I want them on stay back while attacking. The reason why I've done that is because I think if we're going to have like a 6-4 split, if we're going to have those 2 midfielders, they want to get forward and be attacking, I think you really need to tell your fullbacks to stay back, because if you imagine having your fullbacks, for example, on balance, they're going to get forwards, and they're going to overlap, you know, your wingers. If we set them to overlap, for example, you know, what's going to happen is then they are going to make those runs overlapping the wingers. But if you lose the ball, you literally have your 2 centre backs to defend, because your 2 midfielders are up the pitch joining in the attack, and obviously your front 4 is obviously doing the attacking work, and now your fullbacks are up there as well. You've literally just got your 2 centre backs are going to be the only ones that are going to be there to defend. So I think, you know, you want to keep some players back to defend. So I think we're going to just leave them on stay back while attacking. At the very least, we need to have that back 4 solid. Moving into the midfielders. Now I've decided to go with the 2 midfielders. I've said we want them not to go attacking. We don't want them to go on get forwards and go crazy. We want them on balance, because we want them to do a little bit of defending, because we don't want to be too open. One of the negatives with this formation is it is quite easy to get counter-attacked, because there is that big space between your centre midfielders and your defenders, especially if you're attacking and your midfielders are up the pitch and you lose possession. You have no CDM, you have no cover between where you lost the ball and your back 4. So it's just, if the guy gets out, if he has a number 10, if he has some midfielders that are free, he just pretty much has free reign at your back 4, which is why we want at least the defenders to be on stay back while attacking. If you're a good 1v1 defender, it's not really too much of an issue. Like for me personally, I'm quite a good 1v1 defender, so I don't mind not having a CDM because I'm pretty good 1v1. I can you know, figure most people out when they're attacking me. But if you're someone that maybe isn't the best 1v1 defender, then I don't think playing this style of FIFA is going to suit you in the first place. and certainly not having a CDM is not going to help. But for this case, I'm going to have the two midfielders on better on balance. I want them to stay on the edge of the box because I want them. I don't want to get countered too easily. So I don't want them getting into the box and then there being that huge space. There's already going to be a bit of space there, but I don't want that space to be exaggerated in any way. I've actually gone for aggressive interceptions, and the reason why I've done that is because I want them to obviously try and win the ball high up the pitch. If we are already attacking, I want them to try and maybe make some aggressive interceptions, try and win the ball and just keep your opponent under pressure. As I said, this is more like an attacking formation. If you want to play really attacking, this is the kind of way you're going to have to set up. And obviously, in terms of defensive position, we've got them on cover in the centre. Two reasons: because cover wing is really bad, and that's just the first reason. You should never really. I've never found a situation where covering the wing has ever been useful, and you've already got two wingers, so they're going to help get back and defend a little bit with the instructions that we've got them set on. Roberto Firmino, the cam I've decided to have on stage of the box as well, because my two wingers I've got on get in the box. So I don't want that box to become a little bit too crowded, so I've decided to have him stay on the edge of the box, and he's also on aggressive interceptions. And then speaking of the wingers, I've kept them pretty standard actually. I've decided to get them on get in the box and aggressive interceptions. I didn't want to go for anything on chance creation. I didn't want them to stay wide or free roam. I want them to be on balance. I want the support runs, obviously I want them to be on getting behind. I didn't have that set, unfortunately. I want to have that on getting behind. They want to be making those darting runs in behind, making the defenders have some issues. And then Aubameyang, I'm going to have on stay central, getting behind, and aggressive interception as well. I want that front six to be aggressive. I want them to really try and win the ball high up the pitch and really try and press my opponent in. If we have them on normal interceptions, they're still going to make interceptions. It's then down to how you place them in passing lanes, but I want them to try and be aggressive, try and win that ball up the pitch and try and keep them in their own half. The negative is obviously having them on aggressive interceptions. If they miss, if they go and lunge in to try and intercept the ball and they miss, obviously you're going to get counter-attacked. But I think the thing is, with this formation, you're already kind of accepting the fact that you're going to be open. You know, you're going to play this 4-3-3 attack. You are going to be open. You are going to be open to counter-attacks. So it just depends on how aggressive you want to be. I've decided to go quite aggressive, which is why I've gone for them on aggressive interception. And then going on to the tactics for this formation. Now, defensive style, I think you have to tinker a little bit with this one. I think the only two that I would ever recommend would be pressure on heavy touch or balanced. I think if you want to play an aggressive style of FIFA, then I think playing pressure on heavy touch is the way to go. But again, I will stress that it is going to mean you're going to be more open to counter-attacks. You know, I've tried experimenting with pressure on heavy touch, and you do. It's a 50-50. I think we all know the risk when you play on pressure heavy touch. You know, half the time you'll play it and you'll be rewarded. You'll win the ball and you might score a goal. And half the time, you know, you won't win the ball. Your player's going to leave massive gaps. You're going to get counter-attacked and you're going to concede. That's, I think, just the trade-off when you play on pressure and heavy touch. You could go on balanced. I would personally recommend playing balanced because your instructions are already quite attacking. They're already asking your players to be quite attacking. So I would actually say, especially on defense, you want to probably be on balance. Now that might seem a bit counterintuitive due to what the instructions are set, but we don't want to kind of add fuel to, you know, we don't add fuel to the fire and make it even worse. So I'm going to keep that on balance for me. But if you want to tinker with pressure on heavy touch, go and test it out. But I'm going to suggest going just with the balance, the width on I think pretty much on standard on around 6. I never like going too wide. We're already playing a wing formation, so you don't want to go too wide. You don't want to go extremely wide. I think I never like going like super wide like that, because the problem you have is you already got by playing this wide, what's going to happen is you're just going to have, you know, massive gaps between your players, and it's just going to make it really difficult to make passes. You know, you're going to find yourself having to make a 25-yard pass just as a normal pass if you play too wide. And obviously the issue of playing too narrow is obviously, you know, on a wing formation, what's the point? If you're going to play like 2 or 3 width, you may as well not play a wing formation. Then you're basically just playing a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow or something like that. So width-wise, I'm going to keep it around 6 on standard. I found that this was really effective when I was using it. Depth-wise, again, this is kind of more what you want. I wouldn't suggest going too deep. I mean, you could go deep if you want to. Not one depth, you know, we're not those sorts of guys. But I would recommend not going anything less than probably about 3. If you want to play like a defensive sort of counter-attack style of FIFA, then by all means, because this is going to mean that you're going to be really compact in defense, even though you've got quite attacking instructions. You know, your front six is quite attacking, so you could play on 3 depth if you wanted to, and just kind of play like a really counter-attacking style of FIFA. I would probably recommend personally keeping it on just sort of standard, maybe around 5. I wouldn't go anything too crazy on sort of 8 or 9, because whilst that's going to mean that you're going to really be in the guy's face, what it's going to mean is if the guy gets behind you, counter-attacks are just going to be super easy. And I think the biggest difference is if you play against somebody who is a good player. The only negative with playing this way of FIFA and playing like this really attacking, aggressive style of FIFA, if your opponent is a good player, and you know he's a good player, he's going to exploit those spaces really easily. Whenever I play people that play like in this style of FIFA, especially if maybe they're not the best FIFA players, they're normally really easy to exploit because there's so much space, and if you give space to a good player, he's going to exploit it. So you don't want to go like too crazy, too gung-ho. You want to be attacking. This is already quite attacking, but we're not going to go too crazy in terms of attacking, so I'm going to keep the depth on 5. Offensive style, fast build-up is the only way I think we're going to go with. You want to play attacking, you want to play quick, you want to play fast. So fast build-up is obviously the only way we're going to go. Width, as I suggested in previous videos, you want to keep that the same on your defensive and offensive style, because it can confuse your attackers, especially the AI in this game can be a little bit stupid sometimes. So you don't want to confuse them, you want to try and keep them the same width, otherwise it's going to... Sometimes I've noticed it creates a little bit of a problem if your width and offense, especially if you had like defense, was like your defensive width was on 2 and your offensive width was on 6, it's just going to confuse it. So you want to keep it pretty similar, maybe within just sort of 1 click of each other. And players in the box, I've decided as well to keep it on pretty much standard, because we've already, the thing is with the players in the box, this is where some people, I don't know if they know, if you have your instructions already, like you can see on our instructions, we've already got them set to stay back while attacking, or you know, we've already got them on setting to get into the box, or we're already telling them what we want to do. So you don't want to make it worse. Like for example, if you see when we go up to, for example, 9, what happens is it says this could be effective to get numbers into the box, but it could leave you vulnerable for counterattacks. We've already told our 2 midfielders on our cam that we want them on the edge of the box. If you put the players in the box up to like 8 or 9, it's gonna ignore your instructions and do what your tactics suggests. And if you go the other way and you go to like 2, what's gonna happen is like your wingers now that you've got set on to get into the box are gonna listen to your tactics ahead of the instructions. They're now not gonna get into the box. So you want to keep it, I think, on around 5 on standard, because that means they're going to listen to your instructions over your tactics, because they're going to listen to the fact that you've told your instructions to do what they've told you to do, and they're going to listen to that. The big thing that I would say about tactics, I wouldn't personally suggest that tactics are the most important. The formation you choose is always the most important, and the instructions. And I think these tactics, you know, the width, depth, and plays in the box, I don't think it's really that important in this FIFA. You can see with a lot of these videos, I typically don't change it too much from the standard sort of 5 or 6, because I think if you go too much one way or too much the other, it can hinder you more than help you. So typically I would always suggest try and keep those as standard as possible, and just use your instructions as what they are there for. But that is it for this 4-3-3-4 best attacking guide post patch. I used to love this formation at the beginning of the game. This was the formation that I used for a long time. Then went to the 4-2-3-1. I think this formation could come back in favour. I think it is a really good attacking formation, especially in this new style of FIFA that needs to be played. So if you do want to see more formation guides and you do want to see any more different style of videos, do let me know in the comment section. Make sure you do drop a thumbs up if you did find this useful and helpful. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. It really does help. But that is all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.